Incidentally, the ogres didn't participate. If she had lost against them, she wouldn't have made the right impression. And if she had somehow won, or even put up a good fight, she would have never recovered. If I miss my chance with NFI, I may never be able to get married. Her hands got sweaty, which she hated. Oh, should I go open the window? It's dry outside now anyway, so it won't matter if we open it. Huh, it's fine, isn't it? Plus I already made us a magic light. Are you sure? If you ray okay with it, then I am fine. The magic light was brighter than sunlight. All Henry meant was that since it was still light out, maybe it was a waste to use magic. She also wanted to change the mood. There was no special reason, so she didn't care that he said no. But Enfira reacted in a weird way, and his ears were bright red. Did he use up that much mana? From what I've heard, a magic light doesn't make you that tired. Maybe he cast some spells before we came here. Actually, he smells kind of good, different from the usual herb smell. What, Henry? She had brought her nose closer to him and taken a whiff. His voice became panic-stricken. Nothing. Something smelled good, that's all. Oh, well that makes me happy. It's cologne I made. Wow, are you going to sell it in town? You could probably fetch a pretty good price. And no, that wasn't really the idea, Well, whatever. Anyhow, the hay here is fine. Ready to go to the next one? Why, yeah. But first, let us check some things here. It's cold outside. It's not very warm in here either, but well, it's fine. So there are several things I'd like to discuss with you. Enfira seemed nervous next to her. I wonder what's wrong. His profile was bathed in Henry's questioning gaze. Enfira took out a sheaf of papers. They were covered in tiny letters. Henry had learned to read somewhat, but as far as she could see from a peek, there were a lot of words she didn't know. The first thing is the procurement of food for Arg and the survivors of his goblin tribe and the ogres. What? Aren't we fine for now? They helped us with the fall wheat harvest. We also bought food for the ogres from town. Yeah, and thanks to the expensive herbs we sold, we were able to buy enough food. We definitely have enough to weather one winter. We'll be all right even if the population increases a little. But I realized we might run into trouble if the numbers go up much more. So maybe we should think about another way to obtain food. There were already 14 goblins from Arg's tribe living in the village now. It wasn't as if they were reproducing. That was just how many had fled from the magical serpent of the west and the giant of the east. I think we ray all right, but should we go back to Rantle to buy more food just in case? Really, I wanted to save some money and buy iron farming equipment. If we had iron implements for the ogres, clearing the land in the spring would go so much more quickly. I guess the only problem is that people would think something was weird if we ordered ogre-sized tools that humans wouldn't be able to use. Would it cause trouble if people found out we had ogres working in the village? When the tax collector had visited in the fall, she made Jujumu and all the subhumans hide. They hid their portions of the wheat harvest, which was quite a lot. Since the government understood that Khan had been attacked by imperial knights, they were allowed to pay fewer taxes. This was a lucky break. They had also been exempted from labor requests for several years. It wasn't just an apology for not being able to protect them. The officials really did seem guilty. Henry thought they would be suspicious of the splendid wall surrounding the village. But all she had to say was, the Great Caster, and they accepted it without probing further. That made Henry think maybe they could get away with the ogres too. Then Enfira dispelled that hope. Definitely trouble. In a worst-case scenario, a team would be sent to exterminate them. That's awful. You can be mad, but there's nothing I can do about it. Usually ogres are dangerous monsters that eat humans. Don't forget that the only reason we ray coexisting with them is because Jujumu and the others are more powerful. I haven't forgotten the other issue I wanted to talk about, is how we'll recruit more people to come live here, since we don't have enough hands. It would be great if they came around the time of the spring land clearing. That could be tricky, and what you were just saying makes me think it might be a pain. People will see the goblins and ogres and run for what? Henry asked. Enfira had been acting weird the whole time. He wasn't really present in the moment. Huh? Oh, nothing. She had trouble believing it was nothing. Maybe he was tired again. Her boyfriend had a bad habit of losing himself in potion creation. When Henry furrowed her brow, Enfira took a deep breath and leaned on her. So maybe he is tired. It does seem like he is doing a lot of experiments every day, but I think it is a bit cold to sleep here. Inside the hay it is probably warm, but as she was thinking those things, Enfire's body grew gradually heavier as he leaned on her. I wonder what's wrong. He should really get a little stronger. He needs to eat a lot of meat. I can encourage his lifestyle of foregoing food and sleep to work. Henry suddenly felt like teasing him, so she decided to apply pressure in return. She meant it to be a light prod, but she ended up really pushing. Oh, Enfire looked at Henry in shock and confusion. His face was bright red. Yeah, it's embarrassing for a guy to lose to a girl, isn't it? Then you better eat your meat. When she relaxed, Enfire, with his eyes closed, flopped over onto the hay. For a few seconds it was quiet between them. What's wrong, NFI? Did you get tired? He sat up looking bizarrely red. Nah, it's nothing, I am fine. Lady Henry, the door was opened without so much as a knock and so forcefully that it made a loud bang. A strange cry escaped Enfire. WHWHY, very sorry to bother you, but it's an emergency. What's going on? Henry hadn't seen Jujumu so worked up since the troll attack. An awful feeling slunk up her spine. There's an army is headed this way. What? What in the world? Which country's army is it? Since we don't know the crests, we are not sure yet. But there was more than one army, so we closed the gate. What should we do? What coat of arms did you see the most of? I might recognize it. As Enfire listened to Jujumu's explanation, a clearly puzzled look appeared on his face. That's strange. That's the kingdom's flag. If I knew the nobles' crests, I would be able to tell who it was, but Khan was a frontier village. Beyond it was nothing but woodlands. That meant their destination had to be Khan, but there wasn't any reason for them to come. Why in the world are they coming here? Do you have any idea, NFI? You mean why the kingdom's army is heading to our village? If they were aiming for the Tove woodlands, it would be weird to bring the military. They would just send adventurers instead. Other than that, maybe a civil war. Could that really be it? I heard that our king isn't actually very strong. Apparently, the nobles and he are locked in a power struggle. So maybe they ray coming to Khan because we ray a part of the king's domain and they want to attack it. Henry could practically hear the blood draining from her face because their village might once again be subjected to the horrors of invasion. But we ray not the same as we used to be. Henry faced the issue head-on. Let us have at least some of the people escape into the forest before the troops arrive. Sorry, Lady Henry, Jujumu said. We noticed them too late. If we ran now, we'd have to leave everything behind. It's also winter. With a good chance of monsters coming out of the forest, we would have our hands full just guarding against that. Henry shuddered at Jujumu's pained expression. If the army burned down their village during this cold season, they would have no chance of survival. Then yes. If we can take the food and things with us, let us prepare to fight while we hide as much as we can. Yeah, that's a brilliant plan, Henry. The cellar we used to hide from the ogres, Jujumu, and everyone when the tax collector came shouldn't be full yet. Let us put everything in there. Ready to leap into action, Henry realized she hadn't asked a critical question. How many villagers would they need depended on how many soldiers there were. How many are there? 100 or so? No, the way Jujumu trailed off, Henry was seized with the urge to plug her ears. More than that, a few thousand. Henry blinked. Enfire next to her did the same. It seemed like at least 4,000. Why so many? I can imagine what they were thinking. What reason could there possibly be to send that many soldiers to this village? Henry, is there any possibility that word about the goblins got out? No, definitely not, Henry answered immediately. She could think all she wanted, but there was no reason that information would have leaked out. There were the new transplants, but they were mainly the sort of people who trusted the goblins more than humans. And ever since the troll attack, the transplants and the locals had really come together as a community. The only other people were the adventurers who visited from the city. They were gone by now, but Enfire was confident that Momon and Nabe wouldn't have leaked the info. Then we should prepare to escape and ask them why they've come. Fighting should be our last resort. Trying to fight 4,000 soldiers was utter suicide. As you say, Master NFI, that's our only option. Going up against that many would be impossible. Yeah. So we'll buy time with the idea of escaping. Okay, let us go. They had the villagers who had been preparing to defend near the gate go and hide food with the ogres. Henry, Jujumu and the goblin troop, plus Brita and a few members of the self-defense squad, were the only ones who remained. Brita had arrived ahead of the others, and Henry had questions for her. The first one was who was coming, which nobles' flags they were, but unfortunately, Brita didn't have the answer. She said she had left staying on top of that sort of information to someone else. It was a moment that made the value of knowledge sink in for Henry, so she waited for Enfira to come back with his report from the watchtower. From over the wall came the sound of multiple horses' hooves, then a raised voice. "I have come as a messenger for the eldest prince, His Highness Barbro and an Yeld Ryle Vaself of the Rey Estais kingdom. Open this gate and let us in." Henry could hardly believe her ears. She had heard a lot of surprising things in the past 10 minutes, but this one may have taken the cake. The eldest prince? Why was such a lofty person here? It was puzzling. She wondered if she was dreaming, but Enfira nearly tripped over himself racing back from the watchtower. He confirmed that what the messenger said was true. The king's flag is there with the others. Only someone directly related to the royal family can use it. So what does that mean? It means a member of the royal family came here leading an army. With no idea what was going on, Henry suddenly shouted, "Why would he bring an army to a tiny frontier village like this? How would the villagers know? We reign in the king's domain. So doing what the prince says is the right way to handle this. Or would you rather disobey and revolt?" Henry shivered. Opening the gate was the right thing to do as a subject of the kingdom. But she exchanged glances with Jujumu, who was standing next to her. She couldn't open the gate. She had to let the goblins and ogres hide first. Lady, we'll hole up in the hideout as fast as we can. Please buy us time until then." Henry nodded. She regretted giving the instructions to hide the food there, but it was too late now. "I repeat, open the gate. My apologies. Right now we're preparing to receive the prince. Please wait a little longer." "We'll just go back and forth again, woman. Are you the one in charge of this village? Open the gate this instant. Why are you in such a hurry?" Henry shouted in anxiety. She understood quite well that it was impolite, but she thought it might be another country's army pretending to be the kingdom's Khan had beefed up its defenses to the point that the tax collector was taken aback. Would it be so strange if another country wanted to use the village as a fortress? After all, the trolls tried to make it their lair. For the first time there was silence. There was hesitation in the air. "Why aren't you answering? You must not actually be kingdom soldiers," she shouted. Her voice was hoarse from panic and irritation. That finally got a reply. "A caster called Aints Ulgaun once came to this town, correct?" The image of the village's savior came to Henry's mind. That caster has antagonized the kingdom. "So since you've had contact with him, we want to make some inquiries." Henry was so shocked she couldn't say anything, but one of the self-defense squad members spoke in a low voice. Only their side could hear. "If that great man antagonized the kingdom, then the kingdom must be in the wrong." All the villagers' eyes said they agreed. Especially marked was the reaction of the transplants. Their villages had been burned. Their hatred of the kingdom for not protecting them had been channeled into the trust they had for the passerby caster who saved the village. He gave them items that summoned goblins. He offered golems to help them build thick walls, and he sent a maid to rescue them when a troll attacked. This only made them trust him more. Is opening the gate the right thing to do? It's quite an army. If we don't open it, we couldn't possibly betray him. After all he has done for us, wait. They only said they want to make inquiries. Responding to them won't necessarily be a betrayal, you know. Oh, but if it ended up that way, we would be utter ingrates. All eyes gathered on Henry. She understood everyone's feelings extremely well. She was stuck between a rock and a hard place. As she was fretting, another shout came over the wall. "Do you understand? If so, open this gate at once. If you resist any longer, we'll assume you're rebelling against the kingdom." Cornered, Henry hoped to buy a little more time by shouting, "There are cow droppings all over in front of the gate. We couldn't possibly have the prince enter through such a mess." After a brief silence, the messenger seemed to have gotten himself together. I see. Then let us do this. We want to have the prince enter. Let me in. The rest we can decide afterward." She didn't have any more excuses. Henry shouted the words that popped into her blank head as they came. "Sorry, I got some cow poop on my hand. It's everywhere. I need to go wash it off." Hey, Henry watched Jujumu and the others running away as fast as their legs would carry them. She wondered anxiously how long she would be able to stall. Barbro was already aggravated to the breaking point. He glared at the knight, who returned not as his ally but as a hated enemy. "Say that again? What?" Fury hissed between Barbro's clenched teeth. He practically spat the words one by one. The knight repeated himself coolly. "Sir, there is still no sign of Khan's gate opening." Barbro wanted to take a fist to the man's calm profile, but that would be foolish. He desperately tried to will the anger pooling in his hand to disperse. None of these people, including the knight, were loyal to Barbaro personally. He didn't have his own soldiers. These soldiers were with him because their masters ordered them to be, or because their masters were also accompanying him. As such, he couldn't very well hit a knight while several others were watching. Why not? Why don't those peasants open their gate? This land is in the royal family's domain, so they should be obligated to obey me, and I am ordering them to open the gate. His irritation mounted and his speech grew sloppy. I don't understand. Are they making fun of me? What are they thinking? To the eldest prince, Barbaro, the people of this village were beings far below him. Even they were slighting me. The moment he thought that, months of pent-up anger flooded out as if it had found a place to go. The root of the complex sentiments was the demon disturbance so unpleasant for Barbaro. The dam broke quickly. This is treason. I say this village is treasonous. A ripple of commotion went through everyone within earshot. Wait, that's a bit. Barbaro glared at the bewildered knight in displeasure. If an entire village was declared treasonous, eliminating all the residents was standard practice. After that, the village would be burned down to completely erase it. But was that really all right in this case? Barbaro didn't understand why his subordinates weren't obeying his order. Did the Marquis's soldiers also make light of him? Was that why they weren't complying? What do you mean by that? Leaving these people alive when they don't follow the royal family's orders is surely worse. If Barbaro forgave people who rebelled against the royal family, he would be seen as weak. Letting them live would lead to a loss in his authority. If peasants openly rebelled in the territory ruled by a noble, that noble would undoubtedly destroy them. The knights who served the Marquis knew that. Wait, the war with the Empire is about to begin. If you kill people on the King's land now, it will affect the entire army's morale. And look how well defended this place is. It can be a mere village. There can be that many residents, but I am sure we would be in for a struggle if we attempted to open the gate by force. The best course of action would be to calmly ask why they aren't opening it. We'll go in friendly and then hang a bunch of them later. Well, I am sure that can be helped. Your Highness ordered them to open the gate and they refused. Yes, I'll hang them from the gate as an example. Very good, Your Highness. Barbaro scowled at Khan. The knight said it even had a fine wall in addition to the gate. Perhaps those defenses were a matter of course, so close to the Tove woodlands. But with the watchtower, it looked more like a fortress than a frontier village. Certainly, bringing it down would take time. He had over 1,000 soldiers in position before the gate and was shouting to open up. He could hear a similar voice from a distance. It was coming from the rear gate. As if struck with a flint, Barbaro's emotions burst into muddy flames again. Reason went out the window. Hey, flaming arrows now? Flaming arrows, Your Highness? Yes. Who knows how long this will take if we keep waiting? Look, we don't have time to bother with this village. If you can open the gate in a few minutes, that's fine. But that's impossible, right? The knights bit their lips and nodded. Threaten them with flaming arrows. No more shouting back and forth over the wall like children. Let us show them how adults do things. The knights were lost for words. Then a man slipped past them to come to the front. If you want to follow His Highness's orders, can you even say you are loyal to the Marquis? Your Highness, if it pleases you, my men are at your service. It was Baron Nosmarts with his crew of brownoses. Barbaro was genuinely impressed that even this idiot could come in handy. They were nobles, too. They would surely do something like this if a village in their domain went against them. Maybe they understood how Barbaro felt very well. Oh, then I order you, Baron, for flaming arrows on the village on the watchtower. No one will die if we do that, right? Oh, how considerate, Your Highness. I would expect nothing less. Please observe as we carry out your will. Lady, we ray already, everyone s hidden. All that s left is for me to what s wrong. Sensing the unusual atmosphere, Jujimu wasn't sure how to continue. The members of the self-defense squad who had remained were in complete opposition. Some were passively accepting of opening the gate and receiving the army. Others were aggressively against it. The root of the disagreement was whether or not it would betray their village's hero, Aints Ul Gaun. That's why it was such a difficult call. Actually, just as Enri was about to explain to Jujimu, a voice sounded from the other side of the wall. People of Khan, it is very suspicious that you, as subjects of the kingdom, refuse to open the gate. We will take representatives to the battlefield, where they must petition Aints Ul Gaun to surrender, prove that your loyalty lies with the kingdom and that you are the king's subjects. The mood changed. Hatred seemed to rock the atmosphere. Henry was no exception. They were subjects of the kingdom, and they were loyal. But their gratitude to the person who had saved their village, expecting nothing in return, felt heavier. That great caster had rescued them when their families, friends, and loved ones were being murdered. I have no interest in being taken to the battlefield only to get in his way. Why don't we just escape into the forest and worry about the rest later? The villagers were in an uproar, but they agreed that they would choose a plan that didn't hamper their hero. Just then came the sound of several things being smashed.